What's up, people? Good afternoon. And it's that time of the week again, Snap Count Monday. A lot of videos going up today, obviously. A lot of stuff to talk about with these Seahawks. But I can't miss Snap Count Monday, especially after a game like that where, well, our depth was tested a little bit as that game went on. So let's break it down. Let's see what we can learn. Let's see what happened. You guys know the drill by now. Snap Count Monday has become a staple on this channel. And we're going to start with the running backs, which is compelling because our running back depth was, I mean, we got down to the very, very end there. We got down to the nub. If the NFL allowed it, we probably would have signed Alex Collins at halftime and had him flown into the SoFi Stadium and started him in the third quarter. Really. So we're going to start with the running backs. First, though, we had 67 snaps on offense. Pretty good number. Pretty solid. Offense was able to stay out on the field for a good chunk of that game. They were able to keep drives alive. So that's encouraging. But the running back usage was, well, I mean, it was forced on us, right? Can't be helped. Obviously, Penny's been out for a while now, although, like I said earlier today, he may be coming back. Walker got 14 snaps and then had to peace out. Sounds like he might miss one game, but maybe won't. It doesn't sound bad. Like I said this morning, all the updates that I'm getting from the Seahawks indicate it's not that bad. But 14 snaps, no Travis Homer, so DJ Dallas, who had to, by the way, limp through part of that game, got 32 of them. 32 snaps, and I'd say most of them he was limping around out there. So props to him for fighting through it, and that got you Tony Jones, who got you 23 snaps. And I mean, I'm not going to say he played great or anything, but he fought through it out there. He fought through losing his contact. He fought through getting headhunted. He fought through it all. And at the end of the game, he was part of the reason why we were able to pull it out. He made some plays on that final drive, made some plays previously, even if, taking a 15-yard penalty to the chin like that helps your team win, don't it? That ended up being a 3-point penalty because it turned 3rd and long into a 1st and 10. So, I mean, obviously he's not trying to do that, and we don't want that to happen, but he hung in there after taking that hit. So, good for him. Nick Bellore got 1 snap in the backfield, and that's how things had to break out in this game. So, we were able to find a way to get through 67 snaps with this crew of running backs, but it was not easy. We had to have some guys out there who maybe shouldn't have been out there. And props to Waldron for figuring it out enough to where we could at least put up 27 points and go win the game there at the end. So there are your running backs. Wide receiver, Metcalf had 58 and Lockett had 59. So kind of business as usual for those guys. They take a decent number of snaps off. They don't play every snap, but they're out there well over 80% of the time. And that's been pretty much what's been going on most of the year. Actually, on the year, if you take a look at it, Lockett's been out there about 81% of the time and Metcalf a little less. The only reason why Metcalf's less is because he missed most of that Chargers game. He would be a little bit higher. But either way, they both played excellent games, like career best games, or close to. Maybe not career best, but we're in the ballpark. And yeah, really good from them. Goodwin got hurt at one point in that game, but went back in there, 25 snaps, little less than half the game. Well, excuse me, a little more than 1/3 of the game would be a better way to put it. And he made a big catch on the game-winning drive. So Goodwin did his thing. Derek Young had 1 snap. He continues to just get little pieces of playing time here and there. Treadwell got 18. He actually played a lot because Goodwin missed a little bit of time and we had such running back problems that he just had to go out there. He made 1 catch. Not much to say about him. I don't think he's going to be playing a big role on this team, but I guess he did his thing. He went out there and didn't pick up a penalty or anything. He didn't drop a pass, so he did his thing. He did what he did. Tight ends, and there was heavy tight end usage in this game overall, which is expected because we lost so many running backs and Goodwin went out for a little bit. And it's also notable that the tight end usage was shifted a little bit towards Fant and Parkinson. So Fant was out there for 45 snaps, which is actually one of the highest totals he's had all year, and a higher percentage than he usually sees, like 45 out of 67. So he's out there quite a bit. And you can see that that's higher than his typical usage, whereas Disley saw 35 snaps, a lot less than Fant, and you can see that it's also a little bit below where his usage usually is. So I don't know if this is going to be every game, but it does seem like Fant is asserting himself as the tight end on this team. So Disley snaps are down a little bit, Fant's up a little bit. Parkinson also came back up after a couple of slow games, 24 snaps, which is about in line with his typical usage of a third of the game. And he did make a nice catch early in the game, so he did his thing. And yeah, we still have that three-headed monster at tight end, and in this game we were forced to use it maybe a little bit more than we usually do because of the injuries. And offensive line, business as usual. Everybody played every snap except for Gabe Jackson, who played 38. Phil Haynes took the other 29. So we're still splitting time there. I don't know if it's working as well as it used to. We might need to go to Phil Haynes full-time at this point. Okay, so that's the offense. Let's jump on over to this defense. 64 snaps. 64 snaps, almost a season low. Almost a season low. We were off by one. I'm sorry. Outside of the Atlanta game, where the defense still played poorly, by the way, they only were on the field for 57 snaps because they kept giving up big plays. 64, I mean, hey, that's good, right? That's a season low outside of the Atlanta game and the Cardinals game. Unfortunately, again, I have to say, it wasn't necessarily because the defense played great. The defense definitely did not play great, but let's take a look at these snap counts and figure it out. As near as I could tell, we were in two-man fronts the whole game, and these snap counts kind of bear out that as being true, because Poona Ford, 30 snaps, less than half the game. Al Woods, 24 snaps, less than 40% of the game. Brian Monet, 27 snaps, well less than half, close to about 35-40%. The only guy who got more than half the snaps was Shelby Harris, and that makes sense. He's our best defensive lineman, 41 snaps, so he plays more than half the game, well more than half actually. And then Quentin Jefferson barely plays. He plays 12 snaps. Now, Quentin Jefferson is not a good player. I don't have a problem with him not playing very much, but the bottom line is this. When you are not giving any of your defensive linemen a big workload and you only have 5 active, you're not playing very many defensive linemen and you struggle against the run. You really struggle to clog things up in the middle there. So, yeah, I don't. Something's got to give because it worked well enough for us to beat the Rams, mostly because the Rams are terrible. But some of these other teams, they're going to take advantage even more than the Rams did. So we need either one of these guys to start playing a lot more, or we need one of these guys, or we need one more guy, at least one more guy. Collier, Adams. At this point, I don't really care. It's just got to be somebody. But for whatever it's worth, I guess we didn't give anybody too big of a workload. That's sarcasm, by the way. Edge rusher. Okay, so this is also kind of interesting and something I didn't really notice watching the game live. So Darrell Taylor got 20 snaps, which at this point is probably the right thing to do. He's just not playing that well. He did make a nice sack at the end of the game, but overall he's invisible. That's fine. Nwosu, 54 snaps. So he plays almost the whole game. He misses 10 snaps the whole game. Those 10 snaps, Boye Mafe got 10 snaps. I don't know if Mafe did something. I don't know if it was a matchup thing. I don't know if we didn't like the way he played the previous week. I mean, obviously the defense hasn't played well the last couple games, but I don't feel like you can point at Mafe and go, yeah, that's his problem. That's his fault. So I'm a little confused by this one. Only 10 snaps for Boye Mafe. I wonder what is prompting that. Meanwhile, Bruce Irvin, who I don't think played very well at all, got 44 of the suckers. So Nwosu needs to not be playing quite this much. It's just too much of a workload for him. Most edge rushers are not going to be able to play this much and keep up effectiveness. Now, maybe in this game we needed it, and to Nwosu's credit, he played a really great game. But this is not a recipe for success. And Irvin playing 44 snaps, like, you got to do what you got to do. But I think it's safe to say at this point that Bruce Irvin, like, we've kind of reached the limit of what we can get out of him as a permanent player, and we need to find a way to not play him this much. It's too much. So if we have to shove Taylor out there a little bit more, okay. But Mafe, I don't know what happened. I don't know. But 10 snaps is not enough. And we probably need to get Alton Robinson back on this team at some point. Or maybe we just activate Onujiogu. Something, though. This rotation makes me feel icky. Okay. Inside linebacker, Jordan Brooks played every snap except for one. He came out for one snap, and Cody Barton played a 57, so most of the snaps, which, look, I think we all know what's going on with Cody Barton. When he plays a lot, the defense plays worse. And Barton obviously made a nice interception at the end of the game. He does have moments, but at the end of the day, he doesn't play the run well enough, which is why you get what you get when you're trying to defend the run. And when you're playing two-man fronts, the pressure you are putting on your inside linebackers is massive. They have to be perfect. And Barton, he's nowhere near perfect. Brooks isn't either. I mean, everything I just said about Barton applies to Brooks as well, but Brooks is certainly better. But unfortunately, either way, it's hard to completely judge these two guys, Brooks and Barton, when you're giving them two-man fronts that force them to be pretty much perfect at all times. So we need to help those guys out a little bit because they're going to be the starters for the rest of this season, almost certainly. There's nothing you can really do there. Tanner Muse got one snap, by the way, when Brooks missed that one snap, so he's up to 3 now. So still like Tanner Muse, still would be interested in seeing what he can do at some point. Okay, cornerback. Mostly as expected here, Woolen played every snap like he always does now. But we did see a little bit of a rotation at the other cornerback spot. Michael Jackson got 49 snaps. Didn't play terribly well. Not a good game for him. Trey Brown came in and played better. Not great. He did pick up a penalty. He gave up at least one catch. So, I mean, at this point, maybe we've gotten all we can out of Jackson. I like him. People are entitled to have bad games here and there, of course. But maybe we've kind of reached the cap of what we can get out of Jackson. And at this point, Trey Brown has more talent. And as he works his way back into game shape, maybe he should start taking over by the end of this. By the end of the season, maybe he should be the full-time starter. So we'll see what happens there. I do want to reiterate something. Michael Jackson has had great coverage metrics this year, really good. Honestly, outside of the interceptions, he's been up there with Woolen. Obviously, Woolen takes the cake because of the interceptions, but Jackson has not played badly at all. But maybe we've kind of just reached the point where it's going to get worse, and we need to take a look at a guy like Trey Brown, who has more talent, and think about getting him in there over the next few games. Maybe we should just work our way through that. Kobe Bryant played almost the whole game, by the way, 58 snaps. We were basically in nickel the whole game. Basically playing nickel this whole dang game, and Kobe, I thought, played fine. Held up, did his thing. So, flowers to him, I guess. And Ryan Neal at safety. Again, he's playing safety this year. 47 snaps. Got dinged up at the end there. Missed some snaps. Tease DeBoer came in for him. Sounds like Ryan Neal's going to be okay, by the way, which is great news. We cannot afford to lose that guy. And speaking of safeties, yeah, Tease DeBoer took up the mantle of Ryan Neal when Ryan Neal missed those snaps. 24 snaps for him. I didn't notice anything terrible with him, but he didn't make any plays, but I don't think he did anything bad, so it's fine. And Quandre Diggs plays every snap like he pretty much always does. In fact, this year so far, he literally has. So, that's it for Snap Count Monday. All around, there's some interesting stuff here, some stuff that's kind of weird, stuff that I don't get. But we'll see where things go from here. Like, this defensive line rotation, it's not cutting it. The edge rotation is way too slanted towards the, well, I guess you would call them the veterans, right? Nwosu and Irvin. Like, we got to give those guys a little bit of a break. I'm interested to see what happens at corner. And, of course, we're going to have to figure out what's going on at running back. But that's a health issue. We'll learn more about that later this week. All right, I will see you guys later. There's going to be one more video today at least. And I should be live on Twitch tonight. We're going to be doing Soul Hackers. And maybe some Judgment later in the night. Hope to see you guys over there. Link in the description if you want to follow me on Twitch. Go Hawks.